I'm back at the Lodge Card Club in Round Rock, Texas, and I'm here for a couple of reasons. The main reason being that honestly, I love it here. I mean, guys, I can't lie. This place is awesome. There's really only 3 or 4 things that I need for a card club to be a great place for me to play poker. Good vibes, a great staff and a great environment, and most importantly, bad players to play against. Oh, come on, guys, let's be real. Who doesn't like to play against bad players? It's basically free money. I mean, every time I walk into the Lodge Card Club, it just reminds me that Texas poker is alive and well because these players are terrible at poker, just like me. The main reason that I know these players are bad at poker because this is the place where I always meet the most of my subscribers. And if you guys watch my poker vlogs, then I just know you're bad at poker. Yes, you. But the other reason I'm here, guys, is because there's a big meetup game being held here, hosted by some of the biggest names in poker like Brad Owen, Andrew Neeme, and Doug Polk. Now, this is the first meetup game that I've ever been to, and I'm here to see how a proper meetup game is supposed to go. Because I have my very own meetup game just around the corner, and I need to make sure that my meetup game is not a complete disaster. So I'm back at the Lodge, and this place is packed to the brim as always, and it's full of security, might I add. So don't force Mr. Roberts or any of his coworkers to have to do their job because they look well equipped and I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing. But on this vlog, we have a swingy session full of ups and downs and even a little confusion. And spoiler alert, I made a drunk guy sober up. And I also played some big pots with some big names in poker. And toward the end of this vlog, I'll give you guys my honest, unbiased opinion of one of the biggest names in poker, Brad Owen. Because actually playing against him at the poker table definitely surprised me. I can't lie. We'll talk about it. But until then, let's get straight into the action. 5-5. So 15 minutes into the session in the first vlog-worthy hand of the night, I look down at Ace-Jack of Hearts in middle position when Under the Gun +1 raises it up to $25. I decided to just make the call here along with 2 other players and we go 4 ways to a blank flop?
Wait, what?
Look guys, I'll be honest and admit it. I don't know what the flop is. I didn't film it. I'm bad at poker vlogging. You guys already know this if you're familiar with my channel. So instead of just making up a flop like a lot of poker vloggers do, I'll just let you guys put in the comment section down below what you think the flop was. So the action checks to me and I know there was an ace somewhere on this flop, so I bet $45. 2 players made the call and the turn brought what I'm almost positive was a jack. And when both players checked it over to me, I bet $125 just praying I get called in at least one spot. But that didn't happen as both players folded their cards. In this hand, I for sure either had top 2 pair or jacks full of aces because I remember being disappointed when they both folded. Now let's get to the rest of the hands of the night where I actually know what the boards were. God damn it, Valdez, remember to pick up the phone and film the goddamn board.
It's not that hard, Valdez. Timmy, do better.
Doing that for host John Green? Wow.
20 minutes later, and I look down at Ace King off Under the Gun, and I raise it up to $20. Under the Gun +1 folds, and then +2 re-raises me to $70. The action then folds to me, and I decide to just call here with Ace King off. Look, let's normalize not playing Ace King off like it's pocket aces. Okay, guys? But heads up, and the flop brings 9-7 King with 2 diamonds. And I have a question for the poker nerds. Hey, poker nerds, in this spot out of position, is there ever a world where I lead out here first to act? Now, obviously, the standard play in this spot is to check it over to the pre-flop aggressors, so I did. But poker nerds, please, comment down below. So I check it over to the pre-flop aggressor, and he c-bets for $60. I decide to just smooth call with basically the nuts unless he has pocket 9s or aces, and the turn brings another king. The turn unfortunately goes check check, so I know I'm gonna have to do my own betting on the river. And when the river brings the 7 of hearts,
All in.
I decide to just rip it all in for $210 effective. Targeting hands like 10s through queens. I don't know, maybe he thinks I missed my flush draw. Well, that's not the case and he folds and I take this one down. But poker nerds, don't forget to comment down below. When is it ever okay for me to just say f the pre-flop aggressor and lead right into him if I'm sure I have the best hand? Let me know down below. Now let's get to the next one. Guys, my birthday is tomorrow. Well, today by the time you guys watch this, July 20th. I'm 30 years old. Damn! Come on, bro. You just supposed to be filming, bro. You ain't got to age shame me. But unfortunately, guys, my birthday party was canceled because I closed on my house a week later than I was supposed to. So I decided I'm just gonna celebrate my birthday with you guys, playing online poker on Poker Bros. So my 30th birthday online poker meetup game celebration party will be this Sunday, July 27th. Cards will go in the air at 4 p.m. Central. All you have to do is mention my name, Valdez, while loading chips, and you will automatically get 20% loading bonus. I tried to get you guys 30% for my 30th birthday, but hey, my age is just too big now, so they didn't agree. But guys, my meetup game will be nuts as always, and we'll have promotions for the high hand, lucky seat promotions, and promotions for the most action. Even more promotions will be posted on my Discord, and I will also be on Discord the entire meetup game on FaceTime, talking shit as always. So make sure you guys click the link in my description and come play with me for my birthday. We will have managers ready to help you guys to make loading chips for the first time very easy. And for this meetup game, I'm only doing 2 tables max. So first come, first serve. Now let's get back to the video because this was my favorite video to make ever. In this next hand, we have probably one of the most confusing hands of my entire life when in this double board bomb pot, I look down to ace-8 pocket kings with king high diamonds. We go straight to 2 flops 9 ways, and the top board brings 7 king deuce rainbow, and the bottom board brings 6 king jack with 2 hearts. So we flop the nuts on both boards with top set on the top as well as top set on the bottom. It turns out I'm not the only one who likes these flops when Under the Gun +1 bets $15. So one player makes the call, and then yet again I have to get clarification of the rules for bomb pots here at the lodge. I remember there being some sort of cap on the bomb pots the last time I was here, so I just asked the dealer in this hand before I acted so I could have an understanding. What's the rules for the bomb pot? Is there a cap or something? 500. Okay. Yeah. So like that's the most per player. What's up? Per player? Okay. Yeah. The dealer, along with the players, then told me that there was a $500 cap, meaning that during the hand, each player has a $500 limit on what they can put in the pot. This rule is put in place by the lodge to keep the games from breaking and keep the players from busting so fast. If the players bust fast, then that's less money that the lodge makes off players paying time. Now, I totally understand this rule for business purposes, but as a player, of course, I don't like it. So 3 ways to 2 turn cards, and the top board brings the 10 of spades, and the turn on the bottom comes the 8 of spades. Both players check it over to me, and although these turn cards made both boards wet, I still have the nuts on both boards. Although these turn cards made both boards wet, I still have the nuts on both boards.
I'm not gay or anything. I'm just saying.
Well, this isn't about gay
No,
or
I'm
straight.
just saying. I'm straight.
Nobody
I'm just
cares
saying.
what adults do.
No, I'm just saying.
Okay, who came up with poker terminology? I need to know. This is ridiculous. But anyway, I bet $50 and then Under the Gun +1 beats me into the pot with a snap call. Damn, what could he have? The other player makes the call as well, and we went 3 ways to 2 river cards. So the river on the top board comes the jack of hearts, and the river on the bottom board comes the 8 of clubs. And first to act immediately goes all in for his last $145. Next to act then thinks about it for about 25 seconds and then makes the call for $145. The action is now on me, and I still have top set on the top board, but now I lose to about 3 straights. Now on the bottom board, I have the second nuts, only losing the pocket 8s. And anytime I'm pretty confident that I have at least one board locked up, I like to pile as much money as I possibly can into the pot. So I pot it, and the dealer tells me that the pot is $260. Pot? Now, as I'm putting out my bet, I normally just go off of what the dealers tell me because I'm not a math major or a poker nerd that calculates all the pots in Omaha. But even to me, that number sounded off. I didn't put that. Yeah, it gotta be more than 260, right?
You made it
50 on the 20 total, plus your 50 is 70. 70 plus this. 70 plus this.
At this point in the hand, the players are helping the dealer figure out what the pot is. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, I was very annoyed. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not a fan of giving the dealers a hard time, but can we just all do our jobs correctly? The pot ended up being $435 instead of the $260 that I was told. And if the players didn't help the dealer out with her job, then that could have potentially costed me hundreds of dollars. Look, I'm all for us being human and making mistakes, but I don't go to other people's jobs costing them money. And with the discrepancy of nearly $200, this dealer might need a little refresher course. That's all I'm saying. What do you guys think? But let's continue on with the hand.
He's 425.
445.
Exactly.
445. 445. Because you can lose 500.
What was the flop between the 65 to 435?
435. 435 final.
So middle position ended up calling the remaining $290 for $435 total, and ended up losing to me on both boards when he showed eights full of jacks. So I scooped the side pot and then I chopped the main pot with under the gun +1 when he showed ace queen for a straight on the top. Now mind you guys, in this hand I would have gotten a lot smaller profit if the players didn't step in and help out with the pot. This $400 profit would have been closer to $200 profit if the players didn't step in. Now I love the lodge, don't get me wrong, but maybe let's get these dealer refresher courses going just to be safe. What do you guys think about this hand? I'll let the people talk. Put your thoughts in the comment section down below. Now let's get to the next hand. In this next hand, we have a raise to $15 and a call when I look down at King 10 of clubs on the button. No. Sitting here on the button in the best position in poker, this hand is definitely good enough for a 3-bet, so I raise it up to $65. Let's see if we can't play a big pot in position. So I raised it up to $65 and the initial raiser and caller both made the call. So we went 3 ways to a 7-6 ace board with 2 clubs. The action then checks to me, and now I'm sitting here with the nut flush draw here on the button. I know I wanted to bet, but right now, I'm just trying to come up with the best sizing to c-bet. This board is going to smash the initial raiser because he raised under the gun. So I'm sure he's going to have a lot of ace-x combos in his range. So even though I'm technically behind with my flush draw, I still wanted to bet to come. Because boy, if I hit this flush, I can stack this guy. So I c-bet for $75. The initial raiser snap calls and then the other player folds. We go heads up to Bink, the queen of clubs on the turn. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god! So he checks it over to me and I'm looking over at his stack and I realize that he has a weird sizing behind. I noticed that he only has a little over $400 left in his stack. Now I thought that was an awkward sizing because it felt like to me that any turn bet that I made that wasn't all in would look super strong because he didn't have that much left. The plan is always to get all of the money, of course. So in this hand, I felt like I could still accomplish that on the river because he only had a little over pot left in his stack. So in this hand, I thought the best way to get all of the money on the river is to check this turn card and pray for a non-club on the river. Because then, on a blank river, I'm just gonna hem and haw and then put them all in. I think that's the best way to get all of the money, guys. So that's what I decided to do. I checked this turn with the stone cold nuts in my hand and the river brings the 7 of diamonds. Now he quickly checks it over to me and then all in.
All of it.
Nice bet.
I look at my chips, guys. I hesitate a little bit and then I shove it in his face all in. Guys, what do you think about how I went all in? Am I giving away any tails? Please tell me down in the comment section down below how easily you will be able to tell that I had a strong hand if you played against me. But guys, after I shoved, my opponent told me nice hand and then went deep into the tank. I mean, this was the most serious I had seen this guy all night, by far. Previous to this hand, this guy had been the talkative, drunk, life of the party guy at the table. And now I have him in the complete blender.
I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay to see it.
Oh, please pay to see it.
Make a decision.
Money, this money, that profit will make me wallet fat.
Looks like close to that.
So guys, it looked like that check on the turn paid off and we got paid off when he called our all in on the river. And I'm not gonna lie guys, this hand was definitely bittersweet because this hand definitely made the life of the party sober up. I mean, he went from laughing, talking, and making jokes while downing beers to being as quiet as a church mouse and serious for the rest of the night that I played with him. Now, don't get me wrong, I'll take the money, but the longtime viewers of my channel know that I'm all for anything that livens up the table within reason. So unfortunately, this hand for sure made this a more serious table. So it's only right that now we get to some poker hands with some seriously good players. Wow. So right before that last hand that you guys just saw, guys, this new guy sat at our table. Now he did have a beer in his hand. That's a good sign. But he had a fairly neat chip stack with a lot of black $100 chips in the front. And he covered everyone at the table, even covering me by a couple $100. Now those are bad signs. Those are signs that this guy knows what he's doing, and that's not good. But guys, the last two straws for this new guy was that he had a fanny pack on and he had his hair slicked to the side. And for those of you guys that know me, then you should know that those are the two biggest red flags in poker if you ever want to identify a super nerd pro. So although he came to the table with a beer and I could tell that he was a little intoxicated, he wasn't fooling me. I knew that he was a very good player, and I soon found out that this new guy was Skull Mike, one of the announcers here at the lodge. He runs the lodge YouTube channel, and he's also a very accomplished poker player. Now, I didn't recognize his face, but we've all heard the voice if you've ever watched a lodge live stream. Well, I recorded his stack when he sat down because even though I didn't know who he was, I still wanted this new guy's chips. So let's go over a couple hands that I had with him to see if I was successful or not.
You just noticed that.
Oh shit!
He's not sitting in the reserve seat because he's got a good.
Oh, that's a reserve seat. Oh, that's what that. I thought that was his chip, his card protector.
I run the live stream here.
Okay, nice to meet you, man. So guys, I've been playing for nearly an hour and a half, and I'm just now realizing that this reserve thingy isn't a card protector. And I'm also just now realizing that this new guy that's sitting at the table behind the reserve thingy is the same guy that's on the meetup game flyer with Brad Owen and Andrew Nemi. Now, in my defense, you can clearly see the dealer making the reserve thingy visible so that it doesn't look like a card protector. But anyway, that was live footage of me figuring that information out. Now let's get back to the hand. Oh, it's on me, it's on me. Sorry. In the midst of me finding out the information, I looked down at Pocket Jacks in early position. Now I'm slightly distracted, fumbling my chips, and still talking about my newfound information, but the action is already on me. So I decided to just limp Jacks here in early position. The action then limps to the hijack and he bumps it up to $20. Skull Mike makes the call out of the small blind and the big blind makes the call as well. And now the action is on me. Bump it up. Again.
Raise her up. 155.
And with the raise of $20 and two calls ahead of me in early position, I decide to squeeze here and bump it up to $155. Jacks can be a tricky hand to play in middle to early position, so I decide to raise to a sizing that either allows me to just take this pot down pre-flop or see a flop heads up. I didn't want to just call and be stuck in no man's land in middle position with Jacks, especially if overcards come on the flop. So I raised to $155. The action folds to Skull Mike, and he was the only caller. So we go heads up to a King 10 Queen board, all spades. Skull Mike checks it over to me, and I decide to bet around 1/3 of the pot for $125. With my 3-bet pre-flop, I'm more likely to have the ace of spades in my hand than my opponent. In my actual hand, Pocket Jacks is blocking the nuts straight. This bet of $125 is also going to fold out a lot of the hands that just missed this board. And even some of the hands that we lose to, like suited queens with no spades, and maybe even some suited kings if he respects the range that we're representing.
He was on a TV show. Okay. Like the top chef.
Got the bad beat jack on,
I see him right there.
Now we pretty much get confirmation that we in fact are behind when Skull Mike not only calls the $125, but before he calls, he asks the dealer if they're still doing the bad beat jackpot. Could he have a hand like Pocket 10s and be afraid of a hand like Pocket Queens or Pocket Kings? Because we've definitely repped a hand like that so far. Heads up to the 3 of diamonds on the turn and Skull Mike checks it dark over to me. Look, I'm pretty confident that I'm behind at this point in the hand, but Skull Mike doesn't have to know that. And looking at my actual hand, and because we're both deep, I think this is the perfect turn card to continue betting on. The Jack of Spades is a great card for me to have. And if I had a hand like Pocket Kings or Pocket Queens, I wouldn't be too afraid of the flush, and I would still bet this turn card because we were heads up to the flop. So with third pair, an open-ended straight draw, and the second nut flush draw, I decided to put out another bet, this time for $325, close to half pot. I didn't want to go too big because there was no need. This sizing should get a lot of pairs that are better than mine with no spade to fold. And because he's a good player, I think he's good enough to fold a hand like ace queen off, maybe even with the ace of spades. I also chose $325 to size up for a river jam on a brick, because if he makes the call on the turn, that will leave me with barely over a pot-sized jam on the river. But fortunately, it doesn't come down to that, as Skull Mike thinks about it for about 20 seconds and then makes the fold. So we take this one down. But let's keep the cameras rolling and head to the very next hand when we look down at ace jack off in the big blind. The action is limped to Skull Mike on the button and he raises it up to $15. I make the call along with two other players and we go four ways to an ace 3 king flop with 2 diamonds. The action checks to Skull Mike on the button and he c-bets for $40. I make the standard call here with ace jack, the other two players fold, and we go heads up to the 6 of spades on the turn, a complete brick. I check it over to Skull Mike again and he puts out another bet, this time for $75. I then play with my cards while not loving this spot, but I decide to make the call for $75. I think this is yet again a clear call with ace jack off for $75. So off to the river we go and it comes the 10 of diamonds, bringing in the front door flush. I check it over to Skull Mike for the third street in a row and he thinks about it for about 30 seconds and then places out a bet of $125. How much, 125? Oh, that made it cheaper. I have to call. I'm under repped. Pay him, give him some of his money back. I'm under repped. I can't.
It's clean.
Nice hand. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why it's just better to play against bad players if you can help it. Because good players like Skull Mike are going to know exactly where they're at and value bet that river thin, while giving me a good price so I can't get away. Look, I think this was a well-played hand on both sides that just played itself out. I don't think there was one thing that I could have done differently in this hand. And if you disagree, let me know in the comments. But I check called on every street, even with a fairly strong hand myself. He's just a better player. And on this hand, he just had the better hand.
When you try your best, but you don't succeed.
Ooh, this hand again. Let's see if we can stack someone else with this hand when we look down at King 10 of clubs again, this time under the gun, and raise it up to $20. We only get one customer, that being the player to our direct left, under the gun +1, and the flop comes, ooh, 10 jack king with 2 diamonds. So we flop 2 pair. Now as I'm getting ready to go for chips and place a bet, I can tell that my opponent liked this flop as well. He seemed very anxious as I was going for chips, so I decided to size up to a round pot for $45. He snap called and damn near beat me into the pot. Damn! So when the turn brought the 5 of diamonds, before I show you what happens next, let me give you guys some quick context on this player to my left. So he had been to my left the entire time that I had been at the table. And he's one of those players that's not only happy that he's actually winning money on this night, but he's surprised as well, because he always loses. How do I know? Well, he told me. But we had been talking all night, and he was just telling me that he was happy to be up and that he's playing with house money. He's a retired vet from Waco in his mid-60s. And I'm not gonna lie, guys, he's the type of player that I want to play against. Not a super nerd pro like Skull Mike. Oh no, this player to my left was one of those good old hanger poker house type players. This guy was a seasoned elderly guppy. Perfect. So now that I've given you guys some context on the player to my left, back to the hand and I'm reaching for chips, and guys, I kid you not, whatever I'm reaching and grabbing from my stack, he's reaching and grabbing from his stack at the exact same time. He couldn't even hide his excitement. So I'm thinking, oh boy, this is free money. He'll call whatever. So as I go to overbet the pot for $200, look guys, the man's $200 literally went into the pot before my $200 did. I can't make this up. What in the elderly guppy is going on? Guys, look at that replay. I mean, the man was giving off so much strength that I thought it was a reverse tail. He couldn't hide his excitement one bit. There's just no way. He has no poker face whatsoever. Hell, I thought he was trying to trick me. So when the river comes to 7 of hearts, I have no other choice but to believe the strength that this guy is showing. So I decided to check because I be nothing at this point if he's calling me before I can even place a bet. So I check it over to him and he checks back and shows, okay. Nice hands, right? Ace queen off with no diamond? Huh? Now guys, don't get me wrong, that's definitely a good hand. I mean, it's better than my hand, of course. Hell, he won the pot. But to beat me into the pot on the turn with just a straight and no diamond is just Texas poker for you. See guys, that's why I'm never moving. And the next time, I promise I'll have a flush and he'll just call off his entire stack on the river. Come on guys, you guys just literally watched him beat me into the pot on the turn and overbet at that. And he had like the 11th nuts. Come on guys, you know if I had a flush, I'm getting his whole stack on that river. You just get all the money playing poker here in Texas. See, that's exactly how you could be bad at poker like myself and still consistently win piles of money. I love Texas poker. I'm never moving. But nice hand, sir. Next hand.
You need to slow down. You're back for more,
20 minutes later, in the last hand at this table, before I go play at Brad Owens' table, we look down at 5-3 of hearts in the cutoff and the hijack raises to $10. I call along with the player to my left from last hand, and we go 3 ways to a queen 5-3 board with 2 clubs. The initial raiser, who is also first to act, c-bets for $30. And unless he has pocket queens, then we know we have the best hand here with bottom 2 pair. So I decide to re-raise right away to $75, targeting all queen X hands and even aces or kings. My hand is going to be very vulnerable on future streets, so I'm trying to pile more money into the pot while I'm most likely ahead. The initial raiser thinks about it for 29 seconds and then makes the call. Heads up to the 7 of spades on the turn. A beautiful brick, and as my opponent checks it over to me, there's only one sizing that makes sense to me after I look over and notice that my opponent only has a little over $220.
This table is coming in.
Yep, I go all in for $224 effective. All of my opponent's chips. He tanks for a little over a minute and then...
I don't want to be a scammer yet. I can't see that I'm a scammer.
Pays us off. So we take this pot down and then less than 15 minutes later, our table breaks. And that was a blessing in disguise because I hadn't ate since I drove from Houston and I was starving. So I briefly cashed out with plans to come back in, of course, because I hadn't been able to play with any fellow poker vloggers yet. Okay guys, so my table broke. You guys just saw I cashed out for $1,897. And things at the lodge here have changed, so you guys know I'm gonna bring my food to every poker house. Like I'm very health conscious, so I brought my food from Houston. So now, because they have a restaurant here, I can't eat my food in here, but they'll let me use their microwave. So I cashed out, heated up my food, and then I went back to the car to complain about the new rules here at the lodge. Outside food is no longer allowed in the lodge. But when you think about it, duh, they have a restaurant in there now. What restaurant do you know that allows outside food inside the restaurant? You might as well try to bring a bag of McDonald's into your local dine-in restaurant and see how that works out for you. But anyway, after I finished complaining in the car about the new rules at the lodge that make perfect sense, it was time to go back in and play some poker because I haven't played with any fellow poker vloggers yet. And we're gonna get back to some action because I haven't even met anybody yet. What is going on? Now, as I walk back in and get my chips back, I run into a problem. Brad Owen is on his last table of the night and he's about to leave. So I talked to my guy Lucas the GOAT and he was able to pull some strings and get me on the table with Brad right before he left. Perfect. I'm finally about to play poker with the godfather of poker vlogging. So I go to take my seat, but first I introduce myself. Just a little small talk before I hopefully take all of his chips, of course. But seriously, his vlogs taught me a lot back in the day and helped me go from the guppy that even bad players love to see coming to the poker table to the player I am today. The fanny pack bro bounty hunter, the king fish, The best bad player on planet Earth. That's me. None of that would have been possible if it wasn't for Brad Owen. And now, I think it's time that I use what he taught me against him. So I get to my seat, and surprisingly, a couple players have watched my vlog before.
I watch your vlog too.
Huh, you watch it?
Yeah, man. I like watching your stuff.
Oh, you watch it? Oh, thanks, guys. Huh?
Houston, Texas.
Yes. Thank you.
I saw your last one. You went to the hangar.
Oh, you saw that?
The fanny pack bros.
See, guys, I'm spreading awareness about the fanny pack bros. That's awesome. But now it's time to get to every hand that I played with Brad at the table, in order. The very first hand, and I look down at King Deuce off in middle position. Okay, fold. Next hand, and I look down at 9-5 off under the gun +1. That's a muck. Next hand, King 8 off under the gun. That's gonna be a muck. Next hand, and I look down at 9-5 off again. This time in the big blind. Muck again, since they didn't listen to me the first time. Then I look down at pocket deuces in the small blind. I limped the straddle, but Brad folded anyway, and I folded the flop. Then I take a picture with Brad during the dealer change. He's tall, I'm short. Then I get this garbage double board bomb pot hand where I flop garbage on both boards and then fold the flop. Then I look down at 3 deuce off on the button, and I was about to play it from the button, but Brad folded anyway, so I just folded the garbage that I was supposed to fold in the first place. And then I look down at pocket jacks in the cutoff. And wait, Brad, bro, where you going? I just got my first playable hand, bro. You leaving already? And just like that, ladies and gentlemen, he left. But my question to you guys is this. Seriously, was Brad Owen nervous that I was now at his table? Perhaps he taught me too much over the years. And now the multimillionaire was now nervous that because I was now at his table, his $500 chip stack was in jeopardy, so he left. Maybe that's why he left the table. What do you guys think? Either way, that's the story I'm rolling with, and you guys can't prove me otherwise anyway. But anyway, I left 10 minutes after Brad left. I was already exhausted and I had a long drive back to Houston. So let's head to the cage, cash out, and see how we did. I also have some final thoughts from this whole experience, so let's head to the cage and then head outside. God damn, they got me. Should be cashing out for more. My name is Valdez and it's my first time making a song. I should be cashing out for way more, but a couple guppies did me wrong. I said a couple guppies did me wrong. Oh yeah, they did me wrong. He snapped me off on that turning and took some of my profit home. Goddamn guppy did me wrong. Snapped me off, took some of my profit home. Grandpa Guppy got me good.
1848.
Thank you. You too. And just like that, we're out. We were in for $500. We were out for, I believe, $18.43. I really only bought in after dinner to meet Brad Owen and Andrew Neeme. Those are like two of the first people that inspired me to play poker. Well, not play poker, but like, cause I was already playing poker, but like get better at poker. They helped me with my poker game. And yeah, I mean, there's definitely no Valdez Poker YouTube channel without those guys' inspiration. So, you know, I'm never a person, I don't mind giving people their flowers, especially when they put in so much work to deserve it, you know? So shout out to those guys. And Brad Owen, my goodness, that is the most humble human being I've ever met in my life. Like, his middle name should be humility. Like, Brad Owen is awesome, bro. Like, he's really, you could tell he's really like that. That's what makes it even more amazing. Like, he's really like that. Like, you can see through people that just be fake, like, but he's really a humble, like, dude. The dude is like on the top of the poker world, and you think like, I only played with him for probably about 30 minutes. But at the table, like, you'll think that's the normal stakes he plays. Like, he was taking his time. He was trying to make the right decisions. He was taking every hand seriously. And he's just a normal guy, bro. He's so awesome. And that just, you know, and I was telling Andrew about how him and his wife inspired me and made me feel comfortable, because I didn't see a lot of, I don't think when I started watching those two, when I started watching Andrew Neeme and Brad Owen, like 2018 back then, I don't remember any black poker vloggers. I didn't know of any black poker varglers. So I was telling Andrew Nemi that watching him and his wife, like, that was enough for me. I'm like, man, that's awesome, like how him and his wife are and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it was a nice win. It's always fun playing at the lodge. But thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are amazing. You know what? You guys inspired me. Just seeing you guys, like, okay, seriously, I've never met as many of you guys as I met tonight, and I appreciate you guys for that. And I would like to give a special appreciation shout out to the amazing, unbelievable Jennifer. Yay! Jennifer is hands down one of the nicest people that I've ever met that watches my vlog, and one of the nicest humans that I've ever met, period. She was so nice to me, and she literally went out of her way to personally introduce me to so many of the higher ups at the lodge. She personally introduced me to Slick Rick. She introduced me to Doug Polk and made him aware of my existence. And she took me to personally meet her husband, and they told me that they watch my videos together. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks so much.
I was stalking you.
Videos.
I told you.
We have some Band-Aids. They're all beat up.
Love it. Yeah.
That was so cool, Jennifer. You're amazing, and I appreciate you. She doesn't know it, but we're practically best friends. But my question is this. Is Jennifer any good at poker? That's the real question. Is she a guppy or a shark? Or maybe even a super nerd pro? That's the real question. Next time I come to the lodge, I'll sponsor Jennifer's buy-in to show my appreciation, and we'll see who profits the most in a cash game or something. Thank you so much to Jennifer and all of the other supporters I met that night. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, make sure you guys like the video, comment on the video, and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Until the next vlog, y'all take care. Peace.